It began not with a bang, not with chaos or confusion, but with a stillness that crept over the city like a heavy fog. Instead of alarms or sirens, there was an eerie silence that settled over Anchorage, a silence so profound it felt unnatural. On November 22, 2025, the familiar hum of jet engines that usually filled the skies above Anchorage, Alaska, simply stopped without warning. Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport, known as a vital global cargo hub and a lifeline for the state, suddenly went dark. Flights were abruptly grounded, terminals evacuated in haste, and a blanket of secrecy swept across the state, leaving residents and travelers alike in confusion and fear. This wasn't just a weather delay or a technical glitch, it was a calculated, deliberate shutdown that sent shockwaves all the way to Washington, D.C. and beyond. The world watched in disbelief, asking, what is happening in Alaska and why does it feel like a prelude to something much bigger, something that could change the course of history? This is not just about airport logistics or delayed flights. The closure of Anchorage's airport disrupted global supply chains, affecting businesses and governments worldwide. It's about national security, great power rivalry, and the fragile state of global peace. The sudden silence raised questions about America's readiness and the vulnerabilities of its northern frontier. Alaska, often dismissed as remote and isolated, is in reality America's northern shield, a strategic outpost and a front line in a new era of global competition, where geography is power. The silence at Ted Stevens was more than an absence of sound. It was a message, a warning, and the U.S. government heard it loud and clear, mobilizing resources and intelligence overnight. What happened in Alaska was a wake-up call, a real-time test of America's defenses, its crisis response, and its resolve to protect its people and interests. The story of that day is not just a local incident, but a critical chapter in understanding the security challenges facing the nation right now. A reminder that in today's world, silence can be the loudest warning of all. The decision to place U.S. military forces on high alert was not made lightly. It followed weeks of mounting tension and a series of classified briefings that left top officials deeply concerned about the evolving situation in the Arctic. Intelligence revealed a dramatic surge in Russian and Chinese military activity in the Arctic. Long-range bombers, sophisticated electronic warfare units, and coordinated submarine maneuvers. These weren't isolated incidents, but part of a larger, coordinated strategy to project power in the far north. NORAD tracked a staggering 300% increase in intercepts of foreign aircraft in the Alaskan Air Defense Identification Zone compared to the previous year. The skies above Alaska have become a new front line, with U.S. pilots scrambling to intercept and identify unknown aircraft at a pace not seen in decades. These weren't just old bombers, they included advanced fighters, stealth drones, and even hypersonic platforms capable of reaching targets in minutes. The technological sophistication of these incursions signals a new era of military competition in the Arctic. The concern among U.S. defense planners is clear. These maneuvers appear to be rehearsals for disabling U.S. command and control infrastructure in Alaska, potentially crippling America's ability to respond in a crisis. Submarine activity in the Bering Strait and Beaufort Sea has also increased, with both Russian and Chinese vessels operating dangerously close to U.S. waters. This underwater chess game adds another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. The Pentagon responded to this multi-domain challenge by elevating DEFCON to a level not seen in years, signaling to both allies and adversaries that the U.S. is prepared to defend its interests in the Arctic. The Arctic is now a contested region, rich in untapped resources and vital strategic waterways. Russia and China are openly pursuing their ambitions, seeking to control shipping lanes and secure energy reserves that could reshape the global balance of power. For the United States, any aggressive posturing in Alaska is viewed as a direct threat to the homeland, a red line that cannot be ignored. The shutdown of key infrastructure was a defensive measure, taken to protect both military assets and civilian lives against a real and present danger that could escalate without warning. The stakes in the north have never been higher. As the world's eyes turn to the Arctic, the decisions made here could shape the security of the entire nation for years to come. The lockdown of Ted Stevens Airport began with a subtle but ominous signal. At 4:30 a.m., NORAD detected sophisticated electronic jamming from the Arctic, disrupting GPS and radar. Early warning stations reported ghost tracks, blinding U.S. situational awareness. By 6:00 a.m., Russian bombers and fighters approached the Alaskan ADIs, coordinated with the electronic attack. F-22 Raptors scrambled from Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson to intercept. The risk of miscalculation was too high. U.S. Northcom ordered the airport shut at 7:15 a.m. All flights were diverted or grounded, and military police secured the perimeter. For hours, Anchorage was a ghost town. Only military aircraft patrolled the skies. The jamming ended around 10:00 a.m., but the airport stayed closed for security sweeps. The shutdown was triggered not by a bomb, but by a sophisticated military maneuver far from the runway. The dominoes had fallen, and the world was watching. Alaska is not just remote wilderness. It's the cornerstone of America's northern defense. Its vast, untamed landscapes may seem isolated, but they play a crucial role in the nation's security strategy, acting as both a shield and a sentinel at the top of the world. Anchorage sits on the shortest route between North America and Asia, making it a vital cargo and military hub. Every day, its runways see a constant flow of goods, troops, and equipment, connecting continents and supporting both commercial and defense operations. But this strategic advantage is also a vulnerability. Alaska is the first target for any adversary seeking to strike the U.S. Its position means it stands as the front line, absorbing the initial impact of any potential threat from across the Pacific. The state borders the Arctic Ocean and is just 55 miles from Russia. This proximity brings both opportunity and risk, as the narrow Bering Strait is a gateway for both commerce and conflict. Alaska hosts early warning radars and missile defense systems critical to detecting and intercepting threats. These high-tech installations scan the skies around the clock, providing the U.S. with precious minutes to respond to any incoming danger. China, too, is now active in the region, viewing it as a polar Silk Road and sending naval vessels near the Aleutians. Their growing presence signals a new era of competition in the Arctic. As global powers vie for influence and access to new shipping lanes, the Pentagon sees Alaska as the intersection of Russian and Chinese ambitions. Military planners recognize that control of this region could tip the balance of power in the Arctic and beyond. Billions have been invested in military infrastructure, from fighter jets to missile defense. New bases, upgraded runways, and advanced technology are all part of a massive effort to ensure Alaska remains a formidable stronghold. The airport shutdown exposed how civilian infrastructure underpins military readiness, and how easily it can be disrupted. Even a brief interruption can ripple through both military and commercial operations, highlighting the delicate balance between security and daily life. The message: America's northern fortress is not invulnerable. As threats evolve and the Arctic becomes a new arena for global competition, Alaska's role as a strategic bulwark is more vital and more challenged than ever before. The shutdown's impact was immediate and chaotic. Over 50 international cargo flights were diverted, stranding goods and passengers and costing millions in delays. Thousands of travelers were left in limbo, while remote Alaskan communities lost access to vital supplies. The event exposed the fragile link between civilian and military logistics. J-Bear relies on the same airspace as the airport. Security analysts questioned the resilience of other U.S. airports near military bases. The incident forced a nationwide review of airport security, focusing on state-level military threats. Anchorage's reputation as a logistics hub took a hit, with insurance premiums rising and shippers seeking alternatives. The shutdown showed that economic and logistical infrastructure are now targets in modern conflict. Electronic warfare and intimidation can cause massive disruption. No missiles required. The weaponization of airspace is a new reality. Alaska is America's forward operating base, home to the world's highest concentration of advanced fighter jets. Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson and Eielson Air Force Base host F-22s and F-35s, ready to intercept threats from across the Pacific or Arctic. Fort Greely houses the nation's missile defense interceptors, crucial for stopping ICBMs from Asia. Clear Space Force Station's radar network is the continent's electronic tripwire. Alaska's vast landscape allows for large-scale military exercises, sharpening U.S. readiness. The November 22 events were a direct test of this integrated defense system. The adversary was probing for weaknesses, and the military took no chances. When the nation's shield is challenged, civilian traffic yields to defense. After the shutdown, official statements were vague, national security concerns, nothing more. The lack of detail fueled speculation and anxiety among travelers and on social media. The Pentagon later confirmed the shutdown was a precaution against aggressive foreign military activity in the Alaskan ADIZ. Officials emphasized that U.S. airspace was never violated, but the risk was too great to ignore. Publicly, the event was framed as a successful defensive operation. Privately, U.S. diplomats demanded explanations and de-escalation from Moscow and Beijing. The official story was caution, the reality was high-stakes confrontation. To understand the November 22nd alert, we must look to history. The Cold War saw high-stakes alerts, but today's threats blend military posturing with cyber and electronic warfare. NORAD intercepts of Russian aircraft have surged since 2014, peaking before the shutdown. The Alaska incident stands out. A civilian airport was shut down as a direct result of military maneuvers. This is gray zone warfare, imposing costs and chaos without open conflict. China is now a major Arctic player, adding complexity to the rivalry. The weapons are not just bombers, but GPS jammers and economic pressure. The shutdown was a calculated move to test U.S. defenses and disrupt the global system. It's a new era, echoes of the past, but with 21st century tactics. The Anchorage shutdown was more than a travel disruption. It was a glimpse of a new kind of conflict. Russian and Chinese forces tested America's northern shield, forcing a drastic response. The incident exposed vulnerabilities in civilian infrastructure and sent shockwaves through global supply chains. It blended old-school intimidation with modern hybrid warfare, signaling a new security environment. The skies have reopened, but the silence of that morning lingers. The U.S. proved it could react. So bring Carbon, but is reaction enough? As adversaries refine these tactics, the question remains, is America truly prepared for the pressures of this new era?